Let's go! Come on, come on! Hey! Whoa, oh, whoa, oh, yeah, 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 whoa, oh, whoa, oh, yeah, yeah. It's time to make a difference. It's time to turn that page. We got to do the right things if we want brighter days. Cause things ain't getting easy and the road ahead is tough. It's up to you and I to make the madness stop. Every day the things getting harder, and every day the things getting rough, and every day they hike the food prices and they implementing more tax. For the sake of our twin nation and the youth of the next generation, let's stand united, show we're not divided. Let's show them now and send them a message now.
Show them that we're the voice of hope.
Send them a message now.
Show them that our country ain't no joke.
Send them a message now.
Show them that we're the ones who care.
Send them a message now.
Oh, 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 yeah, yeah. Good night to our online viewers. Good night to Moruga Tableland. We are streaming live this afternoon. The pre-budget meeting is being held in the constituency of Moruga Tableland, and we are streaming live from the sub-office of the Moruga Tableland constituency. As you know, I am the Member of Parliament, Honorable Ms. Michelle Benjamin, and we'll now all stand for the national anthem as we begin the meeting. Kindly ask you to have your seat. We'll have the opening prayer by Alderman Gonzalez.
Okay, some of you remain standing, some of you seated, so let's stand.
Let's stand.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's bow our heads as we pray. Almighty God and Father in heaven, we are truly thankful to thee, O Lord, for bringing us here this evening, whereby we can discuss ways and means to help improve our country. This evening, Lord, we ask thy blessing upon our Member of Parliament. We ask thy blessing upon this community of Barapo. And we pray, O God, as we discuss this evening, we will find some solution whereby the plight of our people in this region will get help somehow, because the discussion will so lead that way. We ask for thy divine leading, O Father, and we ask that you will grant us your wisdom, your understanding, so that as we discuss, O Lord, we pray that your name here will be glorified and we will actually see results. Bless us now as we go. Continue to lead us, we ask, in your name. Amen.
All right, so I'll ask everyone to have the seat as we begin with this afternoon's meeting. I would like to say a special afternoon to my honorable political leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who with her great vision and foresight is the reason we are gathered here today, because as she would have mandated not only myself, but all my colleagues, that we go into our constituency and we listen to the voice of the people. So when we respond to the budget, we will be able to respond with your views and your opinions and what you would like to see in this year's budget. With that being said, tonight we have with us the chairman of the Regional Corporation, Councillor Gauri Rupnarain, we have Councillor Alima Ali, and we have Councillor Vince Ragu, and other councillors seated on the outside. Tonight, Moruga Tableland, we are going to hear from you, your views and your concerns and your recommendations for the budget. Tonight, feel free to make your voices be heard on this mic as this pre-budget meeting is being streamed live. Without further ado, I would like to bring to the podium the chairman of the Princestown Regional Corporation, Mr. Gauri Rupnarain, who will give us a take on how the corporation is being run with little to no allocations.
Thank you, MP for Moruga Tableland. This is Mr. L. Benjamin. Our political leader and leader of the opposition, who mandate all the members of parliament to have this budget consultation, and by doing that, given us, the members of the local government authority, to view our concern as well and the challenges we are having at the regional corporations. This budget consultation is for me to highlight so that the Minister of Local Government could make representation in his budget contribution to better local government. I am not sure really if that is going to happen under this Minister of Local Government. Because if this Minister of Local Government could come to the constituency of Moruga Tableland and lie. Recently, I happened to see, scrolling through Facebook, and I saw the activist of Moruga Tableland saw that when he came to campaign in Lengua Indian Walk, he was asking the people of Lengua Indian Walk what they have benefited from the $30 million DP that was given to the Princestown Regional Corporation. No time under a PNM government that the Princestown Regional Corporation received $30 million. So the man had no clue what was even the figures given to the Princestown Regional Corporation. Because in 2022, our DP allocation at the Princestown Regional Corporation, and I say allocation, not releases, was $14,300,000. In 2023, it was $23,950,000, and in 2024, $20,800,000. And out of that, a lot of the funding will not be released to the corporation. Because this is the first time in history in this country, they are telling you that you can only receive funding when you complete a project. In the past, if your allocation under drainage is $5 million, you will receive a check of $5 million and you will do projects for that. So when you award these projects, there will be balances on these projects. So after you complete your projects, you still have about $1 million to go back and do projects. That is not what's going to happen this time. What is going to happen this time is when a contractor complete a project, then the regional corporation have to apply for the funding to pay for that contract. So you're only getting the money that was the award price. So there's nothing like unspent balances. So the $20 million, you're not even going to see close to that in this financial year. That is deceitful by the Minister of Local Government, and then come back to the people of Moruga Tableland and pretending that they help in Moruga Tableland. Spend a lot of time coming to the Muslim cemetery. The regional corporation continue to work with the Muslim community. Again, we start through the councillor for the area there, where that committee is purchasing material to do their own fencing, and the Princestown Regional Corporation is doing the work. But we don't go there with 5, 6 media houses to highlight every single thing we do at the corporation, because we know at the local level, the people who living in that area know what the regional corporation are doing in that community. The work that are done in Moruga, Tableland, I want you all to go and look at some of these projects that was done through the regional corporation and look to see if the state entity was going to do those same projects, what the figures would have been like. Recently, we completed a play park in Sukan Trace. If we had one of the state agencies doing that project, that would be close to $1 million. That project cost the Princeton Regional Corporation less than $500,000. So you just can imagine if the money given to the regional corporation, what will happen. That is what we are asking for. I want to let you all know, and I know sometimes you all will bash your member of parliament and your councillor, to repair roads within the region of Princeton. Our allocation is $1 million. Under the People's Partnership Government, it was $10 million. So we have $1 million, but we have 10 electoral districts. So let's say now, as the chairman of the corporation, we have to divide 1 million into 10. $100,000 will go into an electoral district. And that's the allocation. That don't mean to say we're going to get the full releases of $1 million. And I'm going at the lowest layman here we could understand. The average price for a 10 meter cube of yellow crush is about $1,400. 10 meter cube of oil sand is about $2,000, right? That is the cost. You just imagine with $100,000 per district, what a councillor could really do. So I want the activists of this constituency listen carefully what I say. And the only way we could get out of this is to work with your member of parliament, work with your councillors to ensure that the next budget in this country, we know the PNM is there because they're calling the election. This Prime Minister is smart. He's not going to call that. He wants to go into that budget to see how they could spend more. This government care about doing a budget to ensure that a few people benefit, not the government, because the minister, local government, have no idea about working with his minister of finance and his prime minister is what is best for local government. I see now he's speaking about a project where he's working with the regional corporation to clean vacant lots, and you have 900 CPEP workers. Why it had to be an outbreak with dengue to say that? If you is the minister of local government and CPEP falls under your ministry, why you never had CPEP and URP meeting with the regional corporation in our coordinated meeting where we could coordinate these projects, that we never have to wait until a situation like this to deal with that. The Minister of Local Government have no clue about working pertaining to budget. So that is why we have to depend this evening on the Member of Parliament to take these concerns to the Leader of the Opposition and to ensure that the United National Congress stand up in Parliament and make contribution. Even if the government ignores it, the country will see who really have the people at heart. I can go into long details pertaining to the allocation at the corporation and where we are. But I know the MP will give me the opportunity in cottage meeting as the election goes closer to attend some cottage meeting in this constituency. And I tell you something, if you all bind together, we all work together, the PNM could never come to win Moruga Tableland, because they lied to the people of Lengua Indian Walk, and now the PNM councillor realizes he's in problems, because when he come in with his long list in the council, I am now telling him, today I had to tell him in council, partner, either your minister didn't know, or he lied to the people for you to win to come here. But it had no 30 million here, and the list for roads that he asking for to repair will cost about 20 million already, and we have $1 at the corporation. At this time, don't feel that the corporation not working for you all. We have equipment pack up at this time because we just don't have the diesel to purchase, the money to purchase diesel for these equipment. We have to keep our water truck, which is very important, our cesspool truck. There are a few vehicles that is very important that we must keep going, but we have to prioritize now what we're going to keep in operation and what we will have. So you will not see some of the vehicles that you're accustomed seeing. You might see your grounds, the grass growing a little big. Don't pressure the MP or the councillor. It is just because we just don't have the funding at this time to do every single thing we want to do at the corporation. But ladies and gentlemen, we have an opportunity. So while we're talking all this, we have an opportunity to ensure that we don't go back into this problem, because we lose lingua Indian work, and I'll tell you, the people who stayed away will now regret it, because these people who came out and vote, hoping just that how they get that handout to vote for that by-election, will continue into the general election. They cannot continue that. That handout will not be able to continue into the general election. So by the general election, 400 of those persons who voted BNM not going back to the polls in a general election. So I don't want you all to be discouraged by the result in lingua Indian work and believe that we're going to lose Moruga Tableland. Let us work together and ensure that this party that we belongs to, the United National Congress, go back into power so local government could see the days from 2010 to 2015. Thank you.
I think we could do better than that for that in-depth analysis of the financial status of our regional corporation in Princestown. Now, the chairman would have raised some crucial issues, and as we proceed into tonight's meeting, I will touch on these issues. 1 million for roads, and we know the status of Moruga Tableland roads. 1 million for recreation grounds, and in the region of Princestown, we have almost 100 grounds. So someone here who good at math, do the maths, and see if the maths not mathsing. There's no way $1 million could address the needs of the community. But I have another dynamic person to bring to the podium here that will give you a take of our health care system, Mr. Corey Dillon. Now, Mr. Dillon is a registered nurse and a representative of the Southern Region of Trinidad and Tobago Registered Nurse and Midwife Association. He's here tonight to give you a synopsis of our healthcare system. Mr. Corey Dillon.
Good night, everyone. All protocols observed. It's my responsibility tonight to bring attention to the major aspects of the budget that relate to health that we would want to see from a health perspective. So, just to draw on some background information, Trinidad and Tobago has a population of approximately 1.4 million people and a gross domestic product of $4.3681 billion. So we are a relatively well-off economy. We fall within the middle income economy bracket. We consistently spend a health expenditure of 7.3 of that gross domestic product on health. And again, this metric is in line with this metric is in line with international standards. We have a maternal mortality rate of 27 per 100,000 live births and an infant mortality rate of 15 per 1,000 live births. And again, we rank within the middle in terms of global standings. We have a life expectancy of 76.5 years. So what did I say all of this for? Now, we could continue going on into specifics, metrics, standards, but from a health perspective, there is one thing that we want to see addressed in the national budget, which is the formation of the Health Services Accrediting Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, this authority has been, well, the bill already exists since 2013, and Health Sector Accreditation Council has been something that has been spoken about since 2003. Now, the role of this organization is to ensure that certain minimum standards exist within health. Now, it's vital that these standards are put in place and these standards are enforced. So what does WHO say with respect to health service delivery and basic dimensions for quality? These dimensions are safety, person-centered, equitable, effective, efficient, and timely. Now, all industries have quality standards for safety. Health systems are no different. Now, unfortunately, our health system, by and large, is unregulated, unfortunately. Yes, there are councils for professionals, for nurses, doctors, and there's a Private Hospitals Act, but there is no legislation to address the issues of the entire health system as a whole. Yes, a professional's license could be revoked and other things, but we need something to manage the entire system. So this body, this organization requires funding. So we would want to see as a line item within the health portion of the 2024-2025 fiscal package, something specific for the creation of the Health Services, Health Sector Accreditation Authority. Now, just to get specific to our constituency, so we would want to see certain things happen specific to the community. One, we would like to see the Tableland Health Center reopened. It has been closed for over 20 years, and it's something that we need to see happen. Community mental health services are not what we would want it to be, in that we only have one facility delivering services once every fortnight. So many persons within the community who have issues from a mental health standpoint are having challenges, to have those needs met. Now, in closing, yes, I would have touched on one or two other topics, but the most important thing I want persons to take away from my presentation is the creation of the Health Sector Accrediting Authority. We want to see funding directed towards that, and once that funding is directed towards that, a lot of the issues that we face within health would be addressed, because what it will do, it will prevent organizations, health service delivery places, private and public, from delivering services if they don't meet a basic standard. And it's important to note, an accreditation council exists for education. So any school that delivers services has to meet certain minimum standards. And I would want persons to think about the fact that you are entering health facilities that may not be meeting basic standards. So it's vitally important that we see that in the budget, funding directed towards that. And I would like to thank persons for having me here tonight, and do enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Corey. And we'll be moving right along because we do have a lot of persons that indicated that they want to voice their opinion here tonight. So I'm bringing here to the mic Mr. Shahid Alaham, who is a retired principal, to give us a take on our education system.
Thank you very much, MP Michelle Benjamin, Chairman of the Princeton Regional Corporation, councillors, I see many councillors here, and aldermen. Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good afternoon. As many of you would know, education enjoys the largest bite of the national budget, followed by Ministry of National Security. But how much of that is filtered down to the actual student? First item I have on my list here is the standardization of textbook. Far too often, we see, even in one particular school, different classes using textbook from a different series. So if you have 3 children, one in standard 1, one in standard 2, and one in standard 3, when the standard 2 go into standard 3, cannot use that textbook because that was a different one. And when the standard 1 go into standard 2, textbook in classes in school should be a series. You know, you have book 1, book 2, book 3, so that the students will follow with that. Because we have a standardized curriculum. The same curriculum that is taught in Guayari is the same one in Karanaj. And the one in Ikakas is the same one in Toko. Why we have this wide variety of textbook? That's a big business. We had a textbook committee, and the publishers were able to influence certain members on the textbook committee. Yes, if my book is selected, you will get X, Y, Z. What I am saying is that teachers are the best persons to select the textbook and make recommendation. And then you don't want one particular textbook. You want out of 3 or 4 for the most to select for your particular school. All right? Sports curriculum. We just returned from the Olympics. Change it now. Yeah. We didn't come back with any medals. All right? I see somebody post up on Facebook one kind of medal that we brought back. All right? Some people say it was insulting. But if you don't have a rigid sports program, you can't wait when they reach 15, you're training them in javelin and discus and the various disciplines. It has to start early. So we need to review our sporting curriculum and attach specialists. While a teacher might be a jack of all trades, you have to teach math, language, science, social studies, singing, PE, everything. What you will do, skim the surface. And when they're ready to participate, we will do like what we did in the Olympics this year. Because we take too long. Look at the Jamaicans. They're always excelling. Why we can't do like that? Look, we see the small islands excelling now. They came back with medals. All right? Our sport curriculum in the primary school and secondary school needs to be reviewed and enhance all the disciplines that we would like to participate in. The next thing, we always hear the ministry complaining about teacher absenteeism and low productivity. I have been advocating when we have with Tutor, our union, and other agencies and other forums. Just like how state companies reward their workers with bonus. We don't get any at all. They are not like bonus. Teachers are entitled to 28 days leave in addition to your holidays. Everybody likes the holidays. But the teachers don't really get the holidays, and it's the students. How are you going to school for? All right? If you reward with half days pay, every day out of that 28 days that the teacher doesn't take for the year, you will see the absenteeism rate reduce and you will get more productivity. But it will take funding. The government doesn't really want to spend that kind of funding. Then we have in our normal school system students with learning disabilities. You have specialist school, yet you have an influx of students in the primary school with disabilities, and what they do, they pass through the system. And when you do make a referral, it takes a long time. Sometimes you refer a child in standard 1 and they will get the attention when they reach in standard 4. So this referral system takes far too long. The SEA framework, too many changes. The SEA framework for 2019 to 2023, some topics were dropped. They continue with that framework in 2024, and they created a new one for 2025 to 2028, and they brought back the topics. Right? So They're kind of juggling, all right? We just came through COVID a couple of years ago. From 2010 to 2015, all students who passed SEA were given a laptop. 2016, that was discarded. What happened in 2020 when COVID came? The government now saw the use of the laptop, right? So instead of being proactive, they've been reactive, or they've been, they don't want to follow up what other government has initiated. SCA results. Why not reward students who come first, second, and third? In a race in the Olympics, 8 competitors. The first one get gold, the second one gets silver, the third one get bronze. But in 18,000 students writing SCA, you see it not fit to recognize the top 100. Right? Where is the incentive for students to excel? They cut down the CAPE scholarship from 200 to 100. No problem, but you're still getting recognition. Why perish students 11 years old and not recognizing them? So it's a backward step in our education system, right? So, you just heard the Minister of Education fill in vacancies, leakage. The questions were leaked, and they have to go now and do over all the interviews, because some people come in with the questions prepared, and we have this leakage. We had SCA leakage, we have CXC leakage, and now we have teaching service leakage. So we suffering with leakage here, in, not to talk about WASA leakage, all right? So we always have a leakage, and when school reopens in September, what will happen? A lot of students will be without teachers because they have to go through the interview process. And you know, they now start, this is about the 6th week of vacation, right? And school repairs, some of them have started yet. And they knew from long ago, right, that school will be closing on the 5th of July, you have 8 weeks vacation. But repairs have not been approved as yet. And you're now going to start some. In discipline, what is the cause for the crime rate in our country? Keep increasing, school violence, school fights. As a teacher and principal for many, many years, from the time corporal punishment was removed, we see a rise in indiscipline. There are pros and cons about it, all right? But children must be reprimanded for misdemeanors. And if you don't have a strict system, it will continue, and we are now reaping the reward. You see the picture of the 15-year-old. I never even touch a gun like that. She is better than the police. Some policemen must never even hold a gun like that. All right? So this is what some of the things we are reaping. Yes, Michelle, on the last point. Right? Our indiscipline, we need to investigate that and do something more positive. And last but not least, in the secondary schools, in the 1970s when the junior sec came out, not all students are academically inclined. Some polarized. We still need mechanic, we still need plumbers, we still need mason. You know, when they go away to Canada and America, nobody wants to employ a teacher. They're looking for the skilled persons. We say to revive the tech voc area. I know there's a stigma attached to it, but then each person has unique skills, unique abilities, and you need to train. This is what your country needs. Skilled people. Not everybody could become a lawyer and a doctor. All right? If the garbage truck doesn't pass in front of your home, and the day it's supposed to pass, sure, you're anxious, although you want to be no garbage man to marry, or you don't want no garbage man to marry your daughter or your son. But the day the garbage truck don't pass, you're uneasy, because it's fly and stench near your home. In every job, there is innate dignity, right? So we need to look back at our tech voc area and recreate the job opportunities and the skills for our students. Thank you very much.
for that great review and analysis of our education system. And I don't want to say great because he would have pointed out all our flaws. So I hope that the Minister of Education is listening. But I want to add to that with regards to the school repairs. School repairs is supposed to be top priority for any community, for a country. As the Member of Parliament from Moruga, Tableland, I can tell you what I'm experiencing. Do you know what it is to receive over 10 letters from schools within your constituency and without for donations, asking for assistance with regards to repairs and as simple as furnitures? Now that is ridiculous. Now when I think of making these contributions, by the time I don't contribute, then somebody has to make a donation or allocation to Michelle. That is how critical this is, and we need to treat it with some level of urgency. We'll take you now to our next speaker, and this is Mr. Christopher Jackman. So he's no stranger to the podium, and he's coming here to discuss our labor issues and what is needed.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We could do a little better than that. Good evening, everyone. Nice, nice. When I come to the platform, I like to speak to persons about issues that sometimes you feel on the floor when you hear people talking. Right? So, yes, I'm here to speak on labor issues, and I will touch on that a bit, but it would be wrong of me not to speak to some other issues as well. And first and foremost, the brother here, I can't remember your name, I want to give you some encouragement. All right, because from what you would have said here tonight, I could see on your face the level of frustration, not being able to complete what you have been tasked to do. Even though you're still accomplishing much with minimal expenses, I wanna let you know that this government, and I say this because we went through this government is an institution that thrives on misleading the citizens of the country to stay in power. And what I'm saying here based on evidence and facts. So when they come to these areas and tell persons that $30 million would have been allocated to do works, you must know in your head one time that something is wrong with that. Citizens must know from the start that they are trying to mislead me and try to find out what the truth is. Right? So we're hearing now that is 1 million, that's the figure you said, spread across 10 districts. Realistically, what can be done with that? And when you look into it more and more, you realize that is it a situation where the country is really running low on funds? Or is it a situation where, because of the area and because of the constituency being a UNC seat, that we are being deprived? Before I go forward, I just want to give some words of encouragement to not only you, my brother, but to the MP for the area, not to give up on the fight going forward. Now is more so important because this government has run out of things to campaign on. This government has failed in every aspect of managing this country, from education to crime to employment to youth to maintenance to social services. They have failed. And the avenue to win the next election is not about performance anymore because they have nothing to run on. What they are banking on is dividing the people who can stand against them. It is very important for us now, because now is the time to remove them, that we unite and we focus on what is important. So do not be discouraged and do not lose hope in your representative and your MPs at this point in time, because that is what their intention is. All right? And if things are to get better, the one and only solution is that this government needs to go. So now we can talk pre-budget after we lay the foundation there. All right, so one of the issues, in fact, there are three main issues that are affecting the people of the country right now. Crime is a main one. Unemployment as well as cost of living. Those three things. And on every one of them, the government is missing. Now, when I look at it from layman's terms and you watch the figures, for the third quarter of this year, unemployment stands at 5.4%. Now, they claim that that would have decreased slightly from 4.1% for the last quarter. Now, I don't know where they get them figures from, all right? But on a day-to-day basis, the amount of people that I meet that are unemployed, 5.4% is a gross underestimation. So the same way they come here and tell the country that they give this section $30 million is the same way I will ask a question. Because I know that most of the youths now struggling for work. I know that, I said this at the last forum, that when they had the prison officers application drive and the police service application drive, they had at least 6,000 youths looking for employment, venturing halfway across the country looking for work. So I asked myself, if you have all these young people here really looking for work, and because they don't have work, I mean, I'm not giving an excuse for it, but some of these young people, in an effort to survive, will be encouraged down the wrong path. If we're really serious about crime, let us find some things for these youths to do. That's supposed to be our priority number one. So when it comes to the budgetary allocations for the next fiscal year, if you're really serious about crime, put some funds in place towards hiring some youths, hiring unemployed persons, to focus on issues of crime, as in increasing your community patrols, community police. Put some of your youths to increase your food production. So you hire them and have them mentoring under farmers. It is empirical that we utilize our funds in a way that will benefit the people of the country. But again, they will continue to puppy show us and they will continue to divide us. So, there are persons who believe that petrotrin workers would have been given land. Who here believe that? Very good, man. Not one person. Yeah, I like that, because the truth is, not one person would have received a lot of land. There are people here who believe that the petrotrin workers would have taken home hundreds of millions of dollars, right? But who here knows that we have over 600 people who would have left the company without a cent? Not a cent in their pocket. In fact, some of these people would have worked for over 30 years, right? And then on top of that, we have people here who are willing to vote to support this government to come back in government for another 5 years, knowing the history of crime, knowing the history of taxation, knowing the history of unemployment, and knowing the history of deceit. Trinidad and Tobago, we need to wake up. I don't intend to stay on the mic for too long again, but I just want to encourage you all. You all have one of the most young, vibrant, bright MPs, right? Do not take that for granted. You all would have been one of the very few constituencies that would have stood up to the PNM over the last 2 elections. Do not grow weary, all right? I am expecting a Christmas present this year. And it's not a Christmas present under a tree. It's a Christmas present in a voting booth. And I hope that I be given the opportunity to stain my finger to see the back of this government. And I hope everybody here feels the same. All right, so I want to leave you all this evening. I find the mood a little bit down. Don't be down. Now is the time to celebrate, because we have an opportunity to make things right, and let us take it. Thank you.
See, when we have the fighters in the country coming to the podium and setting a mandate that we have a battle, but the battle will be won once we are united. Let us give him a round of applause again. Because I too want to see the back of this government that has been oppressing not just Moruga Tableland, but Trinidad and Tobago. Let us unite to remove this government. Now, the open mic forum is about to start, but first we have the councillors amongst us. We have Councillor Lima Ali. She's going to bring a report on her district, and then we have Councillor Ann Warren. So all the persons that would have indicated that they want to give their views, please get your notes and your thoughts together. After these two councillors, you would be given a chance.
A pleasant good night to MP Michelle Benjamin, Chairman of the Princeton Regional Corporation, Chairman Gori Rupnarayan, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. As a young woman in today's society, I cannot stand by idly and see so many of our nation's women going missing. Question to ask is, where are our women? 328 women have gone missing since 2018. And they are not just numbers, they are our mothers, our daughters, our sisters, our friends. Over the past 6 years, a person goes missing every 12 hours in Trinidad. Can you all just sit and think about that for a second? And these aren't just numbers that I'm throwing at you. This is actual data that was collected from the Guardian newspapers. And do you all know what the sad part is? The PNM has been in power for this entire time. And what are they doing to protect us? What decisions are being taken to reduce these horrific crimes against women? Women like Christina Adset, who was a businesswoman who disappeared from her home. Ria Sukde, mother of two, who went missing after she dropped her kids off at school. Their families are still grieving, still holding on to some tiny degree of hope. Ladies and gentlemen, it is evident that more resources should be allocated to the crime fighting and anti-kidnapping squad. Yes, national security receives the second highest number of allocations in the budget, but we're not seeing where it's going. A functional crime plan must be implemented. A woman is not just a woman. She is a warrior. She is a mother. She is a leader. She is a fighter. This is why, as a nation, we need the governance of our political leader, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessa, again. We cannot allow the PNM to mislead us for another 5 years. I urge you all, when the general election is called, let us put our differences aside. Let us put race, religion aside. Let us come together and vote for what is best for our nation. Let us vote for a more secure future. Vote for the UNC. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, let's hear it for our councillor that would have raised critical issues. Just recently, our whole community of Moruga Tableland was in mourning, and we know the pain of having a non-functioning security minister who says crime and our security is not his problem. I now bring to the podium Councillor Ann Warren. And while we wait on Councillor Ann Warren, I would like to raise several issues that we are dealing with as a constituency in Moruga Tableland. Moruga Tableland is a southern gem, a gem that is hidden because we have tourism sites that needs to be explored. If you have a trip, or you make a trip, I should say, into the constituency of Moruga Tableland, you would see our beaches, you will see Devil's Woodyard, that is the Hindustan community. But one thing that you will find that each community have in common is poor infrastructure and the poor connectivity. Now this infrastructure is affected, and why? Because we have a Ministry of Works that is not functioning, a Ministry of Works that fails to see the connection between infrastructure and local tourism. So I'm pleading that this budgetary package in Moruga Tableland that we see more allocations with regards to our resources, more allocations with regards to our local resources and improving our tourism sites. When it comes to Moruga Tableland, we need to address the fact that the Princess Town Fire Station would have closed, which means we have to depend on a tender coming from Penal Debe or a tender coming from Rio Claro. And if you know the geographical layout of my constituency, by the time a tender from Rio Claro reaches the Marac, what do you think is the status of that house? By a time a tender leaves from Penal Debe and reach the Marac, what is the status of that house? That house will be totally ruined. And that is what they're saying that we have to depend on. We need in Moruga Tableland a fire station to be built. And who you think is going to build that fire station? Now, I heard Mr. Jackman, before he gave his contribution, he gave us the solution. And you know what is the solution to these poor budgetary allocation and to this government? What is the solution? To put back the United National Congress. That is the solution to this problem. Because this is not their first budget presentation, nor is it their second. This is their... And is any of our problems addressed? You just heard the young counselor articulate what we are facing with regards to crime. You heard from Mr. Shahid Alham articulate a detailed review of our education system. And we would have given them 9 chances. Billions, not millions, billions of dollars would have been spent. They went so far to reach into our savings and they spent. What do we have to show for it? What is the solution to this problem? Is to remove this government. So yes, we are here to make recommendations. Yes, we are here to voice our opinions. So when you take to this podium to voice your opinion, remember whenever Keith Christopher Rowley take that date out of his back pocket, we are ready to dip our finger to see the what? The back of that government. They could delay, but we know that when it is constitutionally due, he could run, but he cannot hide. Whether he call it in November, because I want a Christmas gift too. And anyone know, once you come from Moruga Tableland and you come from this part of the southern community, Christmas is like your favorite holiday. I am a Christmas woman. I'm mixed with Spanish and parang is my thing. I would like to make a parang song. PNM must go. So we are all here to articulate our hopes and our recommendations. But you know what he's going to use this budget to do? He's going to use this budget as a campaign budget. He's coming to make promises that he already know that they do not have the money to fulfill. But they're coming to fool, but they won't fool us yet again. We are here to tell them what we want. And if that mandate is not filled, and we know they cannot fill it, we know only Kamla Prasad Bisesa and a UNC-run government could right the wrongs that we have suffered in this country for the last 9 years, with regards to our educational system, with regards to the crime, with regards to the fact we have mothers going in the grocery and they cannot afford to purchase a meal. And you know, it was so shocking that Mr. Alham would have taken to the podium and he did not raise the status of our community center here in Kunjal. If a child mistakenly goes on that stage, do you know what will happen to that child? We will have to call an ambulance because that stage is rotted. That stage cannot hold anyone. That stage has been in that state for the last 5 years. Mr. Alham would have pleaded. He would have written over 15 letters. And myself as the MP, I would have written. I would have begged. I would have pleaded to the ministry. And yet, nothing. So what I'm saying is that we have to stand up, not just as Moruga Tableland, because we did take the fight to them. And we made this stand for the rest of the country to follow. But the country has to stand up so that we could remove this government. Come on, Trinidad and Tobago, it is time for change. While we wait on the councillor that is dealing with a member of his Burgess outside, I would like to open the podium and we would start off. I see Mr. Israel Mohammed is waiting to take to the podium, and I will make way for him.
My time is limited. I would like to be very short. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of the Almighty God in heaven be showered upon each and every one of us this lovely afternoon. And on behalf of the MP and all the dignitaries we have, I see Mr. Megwe sitting, he probably saying, no, what are you talking about? Food. You know what has happened in this country? There is no policy for food and food security. We have an emerging world where climate change is reaping havoc all over the world. There are countries right now present here, I'd like to call the name of one of those countries, India. They has totally put a ban on all export of rice non-basmati. True, Mr. Megu? You know why? You know why? They want to make sure they have food to feed the people. Do we have food to feed the people in this country? I don't know. The PNM and the UNC, I want to lambast the UNC, but I don't see anybody who have a vision for a future down the road. You put on your TV, go to YouTube, and you will see all over the world rice, how people, poor countries of the world, how they have developed the rice industry. Little machines like this, and one man is operating, and he's planting by the acres of rice. One man is operating a harvester, and he's harvesting by the acres of rice. Sugarcane, you name it, all different types of food, coconut, right? All over the world. But in Trinidad, I don't hear anybody talking about producing anything for them to process it down the road. We in Trinidad had one of the best hot peppers in the world, one of those varieties. Some madman in the States, he just sat down and he started to, you see, make varieties, make until he said he had the best one. But at least we had one of the best, the Moruga Scorpion and the Moruga Red. They were probably two of the best peppers in the world. You know we don't have a market to ship hot pepper across the world. You know why? Because nobody is supporting these people. We had a sugar industry in this country. Right here where we sit used to be sugarcane. From San Francisco, Hindustan, way to Rockwood, Princeton. Right? Until today, this Kamla Prasad government, with the help of Mr. Ramdi, until today we can't get a little bit of money. The opposition leader not meeting with the people, Mr. Ramdi not meeting with the people, and nobody knows what we're doing. Forget. They just don't forget what you do to them. This industry, the sugar industry, 2007, that is grossly unfair. And until today, them get the cattle, the cow, the milk, the cream, and everything, and they're gone. I'm talking about cane farmers, former cane farmers. Still until today, the matter in court, they get a little pittance. Why? Why? Processing down the road, there's a big white elephant right in Moruga. Who making representation? I mean, ask Mr. Alahan. Package about 600 bag, about 60 or 70 bag of squash. About 30 cents. I can't afford this. I won't sell nobody that. I'll give them it. I have over 100 bags in the field. Nobody's buying anything in this country. So where we are, there's nobody in this country who has a vision to produce something to target 4, 5, 6 crops and make something down the road. To produce something down the road, to fine-tune this product and family farm owned. Nothing. Nothing. So who is food and food security in this country? That's what we're asking for.
My name is Katrina McLeod. I need to say a special good night to my MP, Ms. Michelle Benjamin, to councillors and their esteemed guests. Tasked with present. Today I stand before you to address a pressing issue that affects majority in my community and by extension the nation, as it pertains to unemployment. This phenomenon is not merely a statistic. It is a powerful force that shapes the future of young people and ultimately the societies we live in. Across the nation, youth unemployment rate is alarmingly high. According to the Central Statistics Office, the unemployment According to Central Statistics Office, the employment to population ratio is 51.8%. That is a little under half of the population that is actually unemployed. On average, about 20,000 individuals write the CSEC exam every year, leaving school with no hope and no direction. This represents not just an economic crisis, but a profound social one, as young individuals and their family facing uncertainties, anxiety, and diminished prospects. High unemployment can lead to greater reliance on government programs and social services, putting pressure on our scarce public resources. This can lead to higher crime rates, and economically disadvantaged youths may turn to illegal activities as it means for survival. Prolonged unemployment can lead to brain drain, therefore resulting in unskilled and educated citizens migrating to other regions for better opportunities. Also, this can have a ripple effect across generations. Children of unemployed parents may face economic hardship themselves, perpetuating cycles of poverty and unemployment. Therefore, reintroduction of functional skills and training programs should be established within Moruga Tableland, as well as greater emphasis on the field of agriculture. Moreover, we must acknowledge the impact of the rise of the retirement age, which has disrupted the job market, resulting in hiring freezes and disappropriatingly affecting the younger entrants into the workforce. It is critical that the government invest in education systems that not only inclusive but also adapted to the shifting landscape of the job market, especially within my area of Moruga Tableland. Programs that integrate vocational training, internship, mentorship can bridge the gap between academic knowledge and practical skills. In conclusion, youth unemployment is not merely an economic issue. It is a social imperative that demands our attention and action. By addressing these issues and working collaboratively, the government can empower the youths, unlocking their potential and to build a brighter and prosperous future for all. Therefore, I urge the government to consider these recommendations for the upcoming 2025 budget. Thank you very much.
Good night to each and everyone. And to my political leader, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, one of the most vibrant, best politician as a prime minister have ever passed Trinidad and Tobago. And I think if nobody could not be heard tonight or tomorrow or after tomorrow, it will be Kamla. You know why? She gives she life out for each and every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. When she was in power and in opposition. And today, we must respect her for her good doings she have done. I want to say clear here tonight that the PNM has offered the cane farmers of Trinidad and Tobago double what Kamla have offered. We get double kick, they take away what Kamla give you. They don't even want to work with the things she put in place as a prime minister to follow it to give away money. They want to take away 90% of the money. This is what you have to watch, that this lying government that we have, deceitful government we have. This is what we facing today. When we had a good government, who was Kamla Prasad Bisesa, who loved this country, give us the most road, give us the best health, give us everything that give people money to mind children when they're newborn, computers, good school, a conditioned school for common entrance children, in Barapo, grounds, name it. Name it. We get it. We get it. And we get it throughout the country. She didn't do like the PNM. Only the seat they win, they give all the money there and left in that 19 seats of her. Kamla never have done that. She have worked her life out for the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. And this is something we must look up at and see that why and when we have good governments, we must respect our good governments. But you know what? All of we here might be one day I want to respect Rowley more than we respect Kamla. But Kamla, when Kamla days, I want to know which road to drive in, how good it is. Every week I have bus attire. Every week I have bus attire in this country. Every week, any road you go in is bad. And you know what? Our election close come, they put in half-inch of Baba Green. Half-inch, mashing up in 2 days. And they say they're fixing road. My brothers and sisters, it's very frightening to know that you as a citizen know that Miss Benjamin have stand up firm and fight for every little patch and every road she gets in Barapo and in Moruga, Tableland, Miss Benjamin. And today, we must praise her for that. She have done a wonderful job. And she always do a wonderful job for the people in Moruga, Tableland. But when you get nothing to give to your people because it's a UNC seat, how could you perform? The first thing the people could say, where's the MP? Where the MP will come? But how much she could share with your salary? If you ask, she should go buy some houses. Children even have milk in Kamla days. Kamla pay $500 for a child to born. She pay $500 for a child to born. Rowley take away everything. You call it the taxing government. Tax down the road. You build a house from the age of 11 years, or 12 years, or 13 years. Build it and put it together and pay tax for each and everything you buy. But today, you have to pay tax again. So you call that the taxing government. Prices that you could live. She know that is essential. She know water is essential. Current is essential. She know the healthcare is essential. You just imagine on that Kamla. We're sleeping on the corridor. When you go in the hospital in the morning, the next morning, and you're still waiting until 1, 2 o'clock to get a bed. People like they don't understand what is an intelligent government is a government like Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And this is what we want to see. And we must make our must and put back our beloved Kamla Prasad Bisesa to run this country if we want to survive. Okay, I'm begging all you. If PNM have take back this election by our negligence, then don't blame Kamla Prasad Bissessa. Because she gave all her she life, she breath, she lose everything you could say by going night after night. She holds together to make each and every one of us happy. And today, we have back in 2 elections on she. But this one, I want you all to say, Kamla or nothing. Because these are the person who make sure that every single person had an equal place. That is a person to say she gave an equal place into this country to each and every citizen. You just imagine we have 1.4 million people and we budgeted $66 billion and none only I guess 66 cents in our pocket. And we have a good road, we have a good health, we have a good nothing good, nothing, everything falling apart. Right? Every single thing falling apart. So today, I urge you all to understand that this is a budget contribution, to understand that the problem we're facing every single day, the groceries goes up and up and up under this PNM. Under this PNM, everything going up and up and up. Under Kamla, we never worry about nothing. Because you know why? She always brings goodies for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. This government brings pain and hurt for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Pain and hurt for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And today, we must open our eyes. And as I always say, and I just always tell my brothers and sisters this when I am campaigning. If I cut your hand, and I cut my hand, if your blood was different from mine, then I would not be living in Trinidad. I'll be living in Mars or somewhere. So we had the same blood. And this is something we have to understand. This is something we have to put together. This is something we have to put our differences in the back of our shoulder. This is something we have to know that we suffer for the past decade. 1 decade we suffer, which is 5 years. And we will take the opportunity to go back and put the PNM there, my brothers and sisters. We're going to, I don't know, crime done as the rise. People can't don't buy food. We have no medication to help our poor people. The rich people, the poor people, the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer. Tonight, on my last word, ending word, I want to say, in behalf of all our MPs and political leaders, brothers and sisters, in behalf of all of them, I want to say they have done a wonderful job. And today, we must respect them for what they have done in the UNC. The UNC all the way to bring the next general election home. Thank you.
Pleasant good night to each and everyone. All protocols observed. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Shiva Mohammed, and I represent the Strange Village Community Council. I am the PRO for the council. So our concern here this evening is, we like the nation to know that, we from the Strange Village Council, which is located in Barrackpore, we have been begging and pleading for a community center for the past over 20-something years. You could check today. And as young people in the community, we're one of the most active village council presently in the Victoria district. And we don't even have a place to sit down to have community meetings. We just normally have community meetings at the opposite the Rochelle Douglas School, which is the renowned recreation ground pavilion. And it's a sad state to see that, youths like myself and many people in the community want to get involved in community service. And there's nowhere for us to go and actually have a meeting. So the thing about it is that we all know that crime is on a rise in our country. And we, as the members of the council, when we do have meetings, there are a lot of things happening in the surroundings. Just to bring one thing to your attention is just a couple of days we had a meeting at the renowned recreation ground. And there was an incident, a chopping incident, where a guy got chopped at the ground while we was having a meeting. So obviously what we have to do, we have to shut off the meeting because the area become a danger zone. You know, we have been begging and we have been asking, and I don't know what else to do as as a council, what else to write, because apparently all our words are being fallen deaf ear. So we from the Strange Village Council, we are pleading and asking the authorities to really get involved to see if they can assist the Strange Village Council to see if we can get a community center, because I have seen all over this country where a lot of community centers have been built. And if to recall, I remember when this present government came into power, they would have promised to rebuild 21 community centers in this country. And for some reason, strange reason, I don't know, people in South, for some reason, I don't know why, we have been forgotten and we were never even mentioned. Nowhere, not even for a rebuilding of a community center, nor for maybe refurbishing the community center. The community center is totally dilapidated. There's nothing, no one can even go there, not a safe zone, matter of fact. We have been asking to make for the location to be a safe zone. Up to this time, nothing has been done. It is a hazard for the kids and whoever pass by to access the school, because next to the center is a school. So as I say, we are pleading and begging, because right now we are on some book drive and stuff, right? To see if we could to reach out to persons in the community asking for books to give to the children. When we do get these books, we do have no place to store these books. When we have any little hampers and stuff that we try to get from burgesses and from people from the community, we cannot even give it to them because we have no storage place for it. And we are just pleading and begging to see if the Strange Village Community Center, something can be done about it. And I know our daily MP, she will make recommendation on our behalf. And I must say thank you, MP, for reaching out to us, and when we having meeting at least, you keep me in the know. So we are asking through you, MP, to see as much as you can do to see if we can have our community center rebuilt, because as we say, it's just think about it. In this whole area, there are no community centers, and I see all over the country there are centers that giving up programs. They have barbering programs, they have hairdressing programs, they have all different sort of programs. And our community, for some strange reason, we cannot have access to these type of programs. So the person that are very vulnerable in our community, nothing for them. So as we say again, I say again, pleading on behalf of the Strange Village Community Council is for us to get a community center. And that is my sentiment for this evening. I must say thank you.
Alright, so we want to thank everyone that has been voicing their opinion. We have more persons that would have indicated that they want an opinion with regards to the upcoming budget and what they need. So please proceed. As you take the podium, please remember to give your name and your address.
Good night to all. My name is Amanda Ankatasu, and I am here to voice my opinion of a struggling mother. I am one of those struggling mothers in Trinidad, that I have 4 kids and it is very hard to even purchase books or food. Now that school is closed, most of the parents who is poor and struggling, not sure if the children could come out to school on the first week or month of school. It is very hard. Where I live, the road to get to me is not even proper. Cars cannot get to me where I live. I live in an area where also from Clark Rashad area, there isn't any community center as well. And I would just like to thank everyone here for giving me the opportunity to stand here and just voice an opinion. Thank you.
Good night to the political leader of the United National Congress. Of course, to the MP for Moruga Tableland, Ms. Benjamin. Chairman, councillors, executive members, and of course, invited guests. And tonight, my name is Dion Richards, and I'm the interim president of the Moruga Tableland Agriculture Development Cooperative Society in Formation. And I am here to speak on agriculture within the Moruga Tableland district community. And, you know, we have to ask a question. What is agriculture? And agriculture means something different for different people, and based on where you ask that question. In Trinidad and Tobago, when you ask about agriculture and about a farmer, the typical answer that you will get is someone who plants something in the backyard, a bundle of body, and they put a table in front, and they come out and they say, here what? Selling a bundle of body or selling some mango from the tree. But if you ask in a country like Canada, what is a farm and what is agriculture? It will say an industry that worth nothing less than $60 to $80 billion in revenue per year. The Canadian government allows 60,000 persons from the Caribbean country every year to come to their country to farm. And they use our resources from the Caribbean countries, and of course Trinidad and Tobago, to build their economy and to sustain their people's well-being, food sustainability, and their army men and their soldier men. And they pay them a price of an average $15 US an hour. Sorry, Canadian dollars, equivalent to somewhere around 75 TT dollars. And I would want to say that in Trinidad and Tobago, we have the same capacity to generate income, much needed foreign exchange, income for this country through agriculture. Moruga Tableland has been, and there's a community in Moruga Tableland, the Lassavan community. That community in the 90s and early 2000s would have produced 84% of the food intake or consumption every year in Trinidad and Tobago. And I will tell you this, today we are down to somewhere around 28%. And it is because of the neglect, especially for this 9 years, not especially as it is for this 9 years. It has been down to 28%, and it is because of the shortfalls of the ministry and the government to secure farming and the farmers within this country. Simple things as land tenure, to secure land tenure, and I don't even want to mention WASA. According to our famous Trinidad Calypsonian, Trinidad Rio, when you think about WASA, it is get right. So, water, of course, is the main source for life sustainability for human beings and, of course, plant. So when we have in Trinidad, I will tell you this. The basic need for survival is food, shelter, and clothing. And all three comes from the agriculture industry. I quote farmers to be king of men. And while we want to adore all other career paths and give respect to it, nothing is possible without the farmer. COVID-19 has showed us when the supply chain fall throughout the world, the man who we put on a pedestal, 1 year later, we pissing on him. And if we don't go back to a place where Trinidad and Tobago can again become self-sustainable with food and treat our farmers the way that they ought to be treated, we'll be in a bad place. Trinidad is already in a bad place under this government. Terrible place. I have never seen, I'm not too much of an old man, but I'm 44 years old. And this is the worst government I've ever seen in my whole life. Worse. 2010 to 2015, we had seen the growth of our economy. We would have seen the farmers would have been respected and given opportunity to ply the trade sensibly and to produce food that would have been able to feed our people in this country. A simple thing a farmer cannot access today is loans to carry their crop. And don't tell my agriculture, ADB bank, don't tell me that. Waste of time. The red tape that farmers has to undergo to get that loan is, they're telling you 80% of what you want. If a farmer has 80%, if I have to bring a cup is $50,000 and 80% of that is $40,000. If you have $40,000 as here with ADB. So I'm saying to Trinidad and Tobago, it's time to wise up. It's time to stand up. Because if we don't stand up at this point, we are going to sit down. And we have a neighboring country that is undergoing some serious crisis. And if we in Trinidad don't stand together, if we don't stand together, my friends. So I thank you very much. And I ask everyone that is listening tonight, stand with the UNC. Stand with the people that cares for people. Stronger together, united as one community. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. My name is Denise Lochan Kwamina. I am originally from Princestown, but I recently got a home in St. Mary's, Phase 2, Gomez Trees. And that's about 4 years now. We have occupied that facility. And it was pressure since we got there. To get it, it was pressure. And now we have it, and it's still pressure. So some of us moved out, some of us still there hanging on. The floods, we have real problems. Since we moved in there, we haven't had any drainage, no drainage at all. The place flood. When the rain, you see this weather here now, but lucky I am on the hill, but the people lower down on the base of the hill, they like flooded out. They cannot come out. Some of them were relocated, some houses cracked, some houses, it's crazy. For a government to want to charge you $620,000 for a 3-bedroom unit. These are supposed to be for low-income families. And they insist you take mortgage. When you go to FTTMB now, that's costing $1 million for low income in St. Mary's area. And I didn't tell you about the house yet. The house was with louvers, and there were no tiles on the floor. It was bare concrete. It was a bare unit. No back door, no nothing. Yeah, there wasn't a back door. There was one door. So from my knowledge alone, a house cannot be passed with one entrance, you know, and then we have height in the back. So I personally went to town and country with the help of Miss Benjamin and Miss Kamla Bissessa and their lawyers, their battery of lawyers. We were able to get the price down to $320,000. That was the original price. On the day that we went to sign for the house, we were told to take it or leave it. When I personally spoke to Mr. Rowley when he came to open the area down there, and I said, but we didn't agree on this, we agree on 420. And he said, well, call my office, we're gonna deal with it after. So we did that. I being the spokesperson for the area, I did call his office, and they gave me the runaround, until we did get him, not him, but his secretary, and he said that if we cannot pay for it, get out. That is what was said to us. If we can't pay for it, get out. As blatant as that, you know. So then we sorted out, we called our counselor, Miss Benjamin, and, you know, we interacted, and we got the price down. We are grateful. But now the house is cracking. We need some drainage badly. And the people who move out, they have no justice, because some of them went back to the renting and all of that. So, you know, so it's a terrible situation down at where I live. And the most important thing is the drainage. And that is the most important thing right now. The roads sink and, oh, we have it. So I want to thank you all for your time. I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank my MP, Miss Benjamin. I want to thank our leader, Miss Kamla Bissessa. You wouldn't be in the opposition just now. Take it from me.
Good evening. The name is Joseph Ruplal. I am the owner of a gym. I'm here really to represent the youths. Basically, I grew up in Moruga. Right now, when we look at Moruga, it's not the same Moruga 20 years ago, in the sense that there are no provisions for young people, whether it be sporting, whether it be agriculture. There's a lot of red tape to get anything done. For example, we started recently by trying to introduce football to the area. On trying to get the Moruga Sport and Cultural Center, we were told that we had to pay $18,000 a month for us to use that facility. So we have a facility that's really built for the community, and it cannot be accessed, it cannot be used. So where are we who actually volunteer to use this facility going to find $18,000 a month to pay for youths to come together to actually be able to build a community? And we know our community is built on sports, our community is built on a number of things. So what we have happening in the schools now, as we could clearly see what's happening with crime, I'm also a prisons officer, and we could clearly see that our nation's youths are falling apart. So the homes are broken, the churches have failed, the schools have failed, and religion has failed. So what we are asking is that basically that some sort of structure be put in place so that we could start helping the youths. Sports is one of the easiest things to bring the community back together, to bring the young people together. And what's happening is that we're not seeing the powers that be interested in nothing that we are coming up with. So what we wanted to do is form what we would call an academy, not the type of academy where you pay monies and only the people who could afford it would benefit. We wanted to form something where we could find the talented young people in the community. We actually teach them the game of football, both boys and girls, both male and female. Have them realize that, listen, you could now make sports a career. So it's no longer you need to be academically inclined, because everybody cannot be doctors and lawyers. So you may have a talent, you may have a skill, and this could be used for you to generate a good income and have a good life. So what we were doing was actually asking that, okay, if we have a facility whereby we could encourage all the villages to come together, we have coaches already trained and prepared. All we needed is just this facility whereby we could manage some sort of program. And to get the facility is a problem. So I am saying, how are we going to really embark on any sort of program to engage the young people before the criminals engage them? Because it's easy. Everybody talking about gangs and gangs. The easiest thing to do is to get yourself into a gang. And the reason why youths are being attracted to the gangs is because they get help. So when a gang leader suspects that there's a youth that is going astray, he calls him, he said, "Here, what's happening? Here's $10,000, you could do this, you could do that. This is what I want you to do." It's easy. But if you come to a youth, you don't even have money to help this youth to even purchase a pair of boots or a ball. And this is what I'm saying. We need to basically sit back and look at ways and areas where we could start getting the young people off the streets. And again, I say the easiest thing is sports. Easiest. And football, you don't need much to actually start. And all I am saying is that we need to understand that if we don't pay attention to what's happening with our young people, they are the ones who are going to hold a gun to our heads later on. And you could see now, every day when we pick up the newspapers, you're hearing 4 and 5 home invasions. And these home invasions are basically young people. And lately you could realize a 15-year-old female was killed because these young people are attracted to the fast life, they are attracted to money, and no longer do we have proper programs in place whereby these young people could be drafted in. We have lost the tech voc areas. Even if we look at communities like, for example, Moruga, where you have fishing and farming, it is very difficult to access anything, as my brother said with the agriculture. So you have students coming out of schools now with 9 and 8 levels. They go on to do A's. They go on now to get a degree, and there are no jobs available. So obviously they are going to become frustrated. And who do you turn to for help? Because nobody is there. There are no or limited programs in place. So all we are asking is that the powers that be try to understand what's happening, and we need the relevant bodies to come forward and say, okay, we need to put things in place to be able to help these young people. And if we don't do that, we as a nation are going to suffer. Because our young people are going astray. They are going to form themselves into gangs. Now we're hearing about 6 and 7. You're going to have straight up to 11 just now. And the thing about it is, we're not understanding how this thing works. Because when they get together and they come in prison, right? You have a guy from Digo Martin, you have a guy from Moruga, you have a guy from Cedros, you have a guy from... And they come together in the night, and you know what they do? They plot. So that's how when you hear the news, you hear where these guys, how they come together. They come together when they get locked up. And you know what we are not doing? We are not bringing them together to do anything positive. So tonight, my contribution is basically to ask the powers that be to be able to understand that our young people need more focus. We need, for example, so many houses are built. So you have housing development here, housing development there. When you go to this housing development, there's not even a ground. There's no recreational area. So what do you expect the young people to do? They're going to congregate, they're going to start playing cards, they're going to gamble, and the next thing, going to break in somebody's house. That's how easy it is. And we're not understanding. So we turn a blind eye until now we realize when you walk the streets, you're not even safe. If you look at our cells tonight, nobody have on any jewelry. And I'm sure everybody have a piece of jewelry at home. And you are afraid to wear it. Why? Because that's the state of the nation. That's what's happening. So we put in all kind of crime things in place to combat crime. But you know what we're not doing is understanding that, okay, these criminals are no longer what we would call doncier criminals. They are smart, they are intelligent, they are computer savvy, they are technologically inclined. So they know what to do before you even know. Before you even intercept them, they could tell you when the police come in, how they come in. Because they are trained just as much as we are going to school. Remember, they went to school. There are no jobs for them. And I am saying now that the powers that be, please understand that if we don't deal with what's happening with our young people now, in the next 2 years, Trinidad will not only be one of the worst Caribbean countries, but it will be a very unsafe place to be. All right, so I don't want to be too long, and I hope that the powers that be understand where we're heading and we do something about this. Thanks.
So we want to say thank you. Well, I fondly know him as Mr. Joy, and I think Moruga Tableland knows him as Mr. Joy. So we want to say thank you to Mr. Joy. We have one resident that wants to have his say on the mic. But because we know in Moruga Tableland, victimization is always something that persons have to deal with. We are going to allow him have his say, but the camera would not be focused on his face. So I would not say his name, but to that particular resident.
Even to the member of parliament and other persons at the table, my name is Joseph, fisherman from Moruga. My purpose here is to ask the member of parliament in their discourse while they're going through their routine in Parliament, there is a bill before the Parliament that is called the Fisheries Management Bill. That bill requires a special majority for passage in the Parliament. I am of the view that bill, as it is now, it is flawed. And there are certain sections in that bill. Take, for instance, if you give the power of arrest to the Coast Guard and all the fisheries officers attached to the Fisheries Division, it would mean then that we actually bring in Trinidad and Tobago into a police state. And we should avoid that. Also, if any one of us immediate relative should tell us that they want to be a fisherman, or they want to marry or engage to a fisherman, the next thing you will be doing is seeking psychiatric evaluation for that person. Because fishing does not really attract persons with that wide level of education. Is more persons who are unemployable in other services or who cannot find work at all will find themselves into fishing. And the law as it is, they want to bring it now, it is really against, it is not for, it is against the fishing industry. So I am asking the Member of Parliament and her colleagues, you should take another look at this bill. In addition to that, I was making a presentation in another place, I was making a presentation when the minister in the Ministry of Agriculture, get up, after I made my presentation, and he singled out my contribution for ridicule. He also singled out a contribution from another person for praise. Now, if he is one of the persons at the head table responsible for gathering all the evidence that are presented from various contributors. He should not be making a pronouncement. He could thank everybody for their contribution, yes, but why single out my contribution for ridicule? That I find strange. Not to mention, there were persons who were on the panel present. So by he singling out my contribution for ridicule, he is actually putting his hand on the scale and actually suggesting to the other members of the panel what they should accept. That I find strange. So I am asking the Member of Parliament, in your discourse with the other members of Parliament and the opposition leader, I made that request last year, and I'm making it again this year, that you all please take a second look at that draft fisheries management bill. In that bill, it also, we are accused of overfishing and what have you. However, the various countries that contribute, that are part of the Food and Agriculture Organization, they are shipping fish to us in tins. So when you go through the grocery shelves and you look at the different types of fish on the shelves, so we don't know whether those countries are overfishing. So we not allowed to fish beyond a certain point, and they will allow us in certain areas. However, the persons who shipping these fish to us in tins, we don't know whether they are overfishing as well. Please take a second look at that draft fisheries management bill, please. Thank you very much.
I want to thank you for your contribution, sir, and rest assured it has been said more than one time by my political leader, when it comes to bills and draft legislation that comes to that house, we will only support good law. And what we mean by that, law does benefit the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So rest assured that we would not be supporting anything to further hinder the fishing community, because we know regular gas not being available in the country has put a strain on the fishing community. And as a member of parliament that have, I would say more than 20%, somewhere 40% of my workforce depending on the seashore and depending on plying the trade of a fisherman, I would not be supporting any legislation to further hinder that community. As you rightfully said, that community depends on persons that have a trade and may not would have been successful in school. So I'm not going to support something that's going to further hinder that community. Rest assured, and neither would my political leader, because the United National Congress, we make good law and we only support good law. We have one more person, Mr. Bellman would have indicated that he has one thing that he wants to raise with us, and then I will do the voter thanks and thank everyone for being with us for the length of time online and the person seated here.
Let me show you the little. Yes. Yes, good night to each and everyone here, to my MP, all of state observation and team being recognized. I want to close off with one thing: the love of a shepherd. You all hear me? Yeah. The love of a shepherd. My former Prime Minister. Soon to be Prime Minister. Yes, soon to be Prime Minister again. She had what I call a divine love. Now there's a difference with love. Now here is love from a divine mind. It's a universal unity, but in expression. It binds together the whole universe and everything, making it one. For love is harmonizing, it is constructive. Love is power. That which falls, it rebuilds, and it restores man and his world. Now, the former Prime Minister was a shepherd leading a flock. And while she leading the flock, she started to make observation that food started to run out. And she never waited until the food finished. She called the flock together and said, this is something. Food about to run out. I go in and look for food for you all. Because of the love. So she left her gathering and the flock behind, and she went out in search of food. But while she was out there searching for food for her flock, up came a goat. I repeat it, up came a goat. A Tobago goat? Yeah, a Tobago goat. And the goat asked the flock, the sheep, what are you doing here? And they explained to the goat that we was traveling with a shepherd and food about to run out, but the shepherd didn't wait. You see, wait on the Lord and be of good courage. The shepherd didn't wait. The shepherd went out there to make sure. Here the goat. That shepherd wouldn't return. Only follow me. And so the flocks follow the shepherd, follow the goat. And the goat took them into some strange place. The goat took them into a place, into an inn, because they never went to the inn. And they started to drink and so on, and their head started to get bad and things like that. Then he took them into a hotel, and they went and they enjoyed themselves. They had sexual activities. The shepherd never took them into that area. And they had a marvelous time. But the shepherd, which is the former prime minister, came back. But one fella stayed there. One person stayed. Maybe the bellman, I don't know. Maybe the MP, I don't know. But one person stayed. And when the shepherd came back, the shepherd started to inquire, where is my flock? And then the shepherd started to look down footprint, looking about. But he saw one guy remain. So he went to the guy now and he asked the guy, which is the former prime minister, where is the flock? And then the guy said, well, as you leave, a goat came across and took the flock. At this point in time, I don't know where the flock is. And the goat, you see, the goat said, well, come he blessed are your father. I prepared the amount of food. You can remember the former prime minister, like it's a holiday, she always give her 20% off, and she always believe in food. Because I used to sustain the nation. So the shepherd left with that one person at Tableland. And the goat now took the flock, the shepherd flock, to a place, and over the course of the night, they enjoyed themselves. And in the morning, they had carpet. This is the people, who voted, you understand? They forgot the goodness of the former Prime Minister, UNC, the People Partnership. They forgot the goodness. And the morning when the goat thing, they enjoyed themselves and they had all passion and they do this. The goat had a butcher. And the goat took them down to the kitchen. Beautiful kitchen, and they have everything, things looking nice in their eyes. Beautiful. And then the butcher slew them all. Rowley came and he slew them all with a bundle of lies. One bundle of lies. He slew them all. So what I want to tell you tonight is that sometimes you see people with things, don't jealous them. You doesn't know how they get it. Now this structure, the building, the environment was made out from the goat. You understand? This is the way he did his thing. He went out there with a pack of lies. The shepherd ain't coming back. The shepherd wouldn't do this. The shepherd wouldn't do that. And they believe him. But at the end of the day, the moral of the story is that at the end of the whole situation, every one of them who followed the goat, they were slew. So the butcher now, you understand, and the goat was the butcher, he was there when he laughed. What I want to say, She'll be back. Soon. She'll be back soon. Flock waited. There are hungry persons, there are naked persons, there are persons, we waited until the hour. We asked that I am pleading to the man now, to the goat. Please take that document out of your back pocket, because we want to vote. And we want to vote because we recognize what we have. Sometimes it doesn't know what you have until it's gone. Have a blessed night.
All right. So everyone, as we come to the end of this evening's proceedings, and before I thank everyone for coming out, I just want to say, when it comes to Moruga Tableland, it is claimed $370 million was spent on the roadway. But that was not spent in Barrackpore, that was not spent in Tableland. Moruga Tableland is a constituency with a vast geographical layout. But the PNM practice political biasness, and that was raised tonight by one of the speakers, where they do it with regards to constituency. If they didn't win a constituency, they don't spend in a constituency. If a certain part of a constituency don't subscribe to the PNM mantra, they don't spend in that part of the constituency. And we in Moruga Tableland know that all too well. Here in Barrackpore, nothing has been done for the last 9 years. The last time we had a school built was under the PP government, the United National Congress. So we have to return the United National Congress to power. When it comes to the PNM government and budget allocations, we know we get promises. Promises with vast allocations to the Princeton Regional Corporation, but those allocations don't come in the reality of releases where we could help you, the burgesses. When it comes to this government and how they do a budget, we get promise of a farm school that went from 15 million to 5 million to 2 million to maybe after this budget, 0 million. So we need to call them out on their promises, and we need to call them out on their political biasness, because they are coming again to face us, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, to promise, but this time they're coming to thief and to plunder, to further. Billions have been spent and nothing to show for it. More than our children missing in a small population of 1.3. How many is missing? And by the time we reach home, how many more will be missing? Every time you go up on social media is RIP, rest in peace. How many African youths must we continue to bury? So we must all face the reality that yes, big figures would be called on whatever day the midget decides to read the budget. But we must remember those are promises that we don't ever see. It does not reach down to you, the small man. We need to remember this. It don't reach down into communities that don't subscribe, as I said, to the PNM mantra. Our children that don't have a PNM party card would not get employment. And this is the reality that we deal with. So I will now deal with the voter thanks. I want to thank my honorable political leader again for affording us the opportunity to gather here tonight, to have our voices heard, because I want to assure each and everyone that took to the podium today, everything that you would have said was not only recorded, notes was taken out, and these would be compiled. We have the PRO of the party with us, and there are several note takers in the back that is documenting everything that is said, and your issues would be raised. I want to thank my staff, but I want to take the time and take this opportunity to thank the speakers that came from far and wide. And I want to thank the NATEX, the newly elected NATEX of my great party, because we are preparing for this general election whenever it is called. Budget or no budget, this government would be taken down, because we are here to represent you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So thank you for your time and your commitment, and let us focus on what is important, which is the youths of Trinidad and Tobago. More jobs is needed. Thank you.
We stand united in the belief that if you empower a community, the community empowers the country.
We are the party that gave every child a secondary school education since 2001.
By building more schools in 11 years than others did in 40. We believe that no child,
rich or poor, should be left behind.
Which is why we give every 4-month student a laptop to expand their minds and their dreams.
We are the party that put police cars back on the streets
And gave the police a $1,000 bonus because we believe that we should support the persons who are protecting you.
We are the party that reduced the murder rate to its lowest in 14 years. We expanded GATE, stopped the property tax, and increased maternity leave.
We are the party that invested in you and your community by investing in schools, community centers, lighted parks, 24-hour health centers, and the most extensive road repair program in decades.
We believe that education is always a solution and that no one should have to pick between sending their child to school or buying food.
We are the party that works for you. We are the first responders in every situation, working to deliver a better standard of living for you and your family.
And most importantly, we have confidence in you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. This is not a campaign, it's a movement based on building communities and strengthening families.
Come out and join us, and together we will get the nation working and moving again. Our children will once again have access to GATE and technology.
We will improve healthcare.
By cutting the time it takes to see a doctor in an emergency, we will establish a senior citizen unit in every major hospital and staff the hospital with the doctors and nurses you need to create a first-class healthcare system. We will focus on creating high-paying jobs, fixing our laws to remove red tape, and ensuring that you and your family are safer. We will reduce corporate taxes to jumpstart the economy, create a special investment zone along the East-West corridor, and work with entrepreneurs to build a digital economy. This is an investment in your community to move the nation forward and get TNT working again.
Whether you are from 4th Street in Barataria to Railway Road in Dow Village, from Green Street in Tunapuna to Clark Road in Debe, from La Hoqueta to Moruga, from Mayaro to Scarborough, we are one people with the same dreams of a better tomorrow. And when we stand together, we win together. We are UNC and proud.